Hey, Steve, of those criminal investigations, political analysts say this indictment may be the weakest and not enough for a prosecution to possibly win a case. The implication to Trump's political career, those are very high stake as he is seeking the Republican nomination for the president of the United States. In a historic move, a Manhattan grand jury moved to indict former President Donald Trump. Former President Trump calling the indictment a political persecution and election interference at the highest level. Political analyst Mitch Kokai with the conservative John Locke Foundation says the indictment will do one of two things: rally Trump's base or hurt his chances for another bid at the White House.
I think the one thing that we can be certain of is that the most fervent supporters of Donald Trump are going to get fired up. They think this is all politically motivated.
Kokai says the greatest impact could be among undecided voters.
Of the charges that could be leveled against Donald Trump, these are probably the ones that are weakest and could have the least amount of overall impact. But that doesn't mean they have no impact, and it doesn't mean it can't have a negative impact on his campaign, especially if people who can be swayed between Democrats and Republicans look at this and say, well, I just don't know if I want to go back to the Republicans if Donald Trump is the person.
Trump's attorney saying tonight the former president will turn himself in next week. Campbell Law professor Greg Wallace says aside from the Secret Service detail, former President Trump will be treated like everyone else.
He will have to show up and be fingerprinted, have the mugshot taken, and then he will have an arraignment before a New York judge. Probably, given his Secret Service protection and things like this, he won't undergo the notorious what we call perp walk.
And just like everyone else in this country, Wallace thinks it's important that Trump is also allowed the presumption of innocence.
He is entitled to the presumption of innocence, and I think that's something that we all ought to be reminded about when dealing with our criminal system.
Reaction coming in from lawmakers across this country, all weighing in, including North Carolina Senators Ted Budd and Thom Tillis, both with similar reactions tonight. Thom Tillis saying this is the same district attorney who is notorious for letting violent criminals off the hook in Manhattan, but has been laser focused on pursuing a politicized prosecution of a former president. Certainly a historic moment that we are all witnessing. The implications far reaching, good or bad. Of course, we continue to follow this. Steve and Lauren.